Yes. Hi, Lipika, Chetan, Prajwal, Soumya, and Bharat, Hita, Likita. Yes. Only 14 students are there. Just ask your friends to join the class. Yes, good evening, everyone. Yes, Varshini. Quickly ask your friends to join the class now. And from the YouTube also. Yes. Yes. Okay. Yes, just ask your friends to join the class. Attendance is very less today. Only 16 students are there. Let me add message. Sahita, good evening. 17 students. ಒಬ್ಬೊಬ್ಬರೇ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ. YouTube nil today. I don't know why. Because in a class ತಗೊಂಡಿಲ್ವಲ್ಲ mostly ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಅಂತ. Okay, yes, it's 5 already. Let's not waste the time. I'm launching technical poll. Yes, here is a poll and just answer in the poll. Whether I'm audible clearly and is the presentation visible clearly, and we are going to start a new chapter today. Not new chapter, yes, a new class. Yes. Okay, so just quickly answer. No, this is not the question. This is just whether I'm audible or is the presentation visible clearly. You need to answer for that. That's it. Okay. Yes. So maximum people have no issue. Right. So then I'm very good to start the class. Yeah. Let me start recording too. Okay. So now we are moving to the actual 12th syllabus. Okay, 12th syllabus is having of 5 units. I told you already. So, but we are considering this unit as a 6th unit because for us everything is the same. 11th and 12th both same, right? So 11th is having 5 units and continuing with the 12th. So 12th from 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th. So 6th unit, which is having a 4 chapters in it, and 5th unit is that a reproduction. Okay. And in the reproduction, first we are going to see the general terms and general topics in the reproduction organisms and some in depth of a sexual reproduction. Note that. Right. After that, the second unit comes, second chapter comes. In that, we are going to see the sexual reproduction in the flowering plants. How the flowering plants are going to reproduce sexually. That we'll see. And human reproduction in the third chapter, and reproductive health in the fourth chapter. So let us start with the first chapter, that is the reproduction organisms. Okay. Yes. So what we know already in the 11th standard, we have learned so many things, right? In that, organisms and its life cycle is one of the topics, and cell cycles, like there are 3 types: mitosis, mitosis, and meiosis. Do you remember this? Can anyone differentiate with the amitosis? I mean, with the mitosis and meiosis? Just answer me in the chat box. Are you guys able to differentiate mitosis and meiosis? What is the difference? So yes, what is the difference? Quickly, quickly. We don't have time, and I don't know when it will get disconnect. Yes, Lipika, very good. Mitosis is the equational cell division, whereas meiosis is the reductional cell division. Yes, Ananya is very good. So people from YouTube, you can also answer. Okay. So we know already all the things, but why I am mentioning these things here? Because yes, organisms, they are going to give a new individual only because of the cell divisions, right? Mitosis, meiosis happens, and later that is going to give rise to a new individual. That's why I just wanted you guys to recall all these things, organisms and their life cycles and cell cycles, all these things. Just try to recall in between when we are discussing. Okay. So what we are going to learn in this chapter, that is important, right? So what is the lifespan? We will see, and also what is reproduction actually, and what are the types of reproductions and their explanations we are going to see. Uh, yes, first is that before going to the syllabus, I mean before going to the chapter, I like you some. I'll ask you some questions. Just try to answer them. First question is that which of the following has the longest lifespan? Banyan tree, not the banana. Okay, banyan tree, tortoise, parrot, elephant. Let me launch a poll. Yes. Oh, Sridevika. No. Now, yes, people from YouTube just answer. Apurva, Lipika, yes, correct. Prajwal. Yes, Prajwal, now you are correct. Oh, Prajwal is giving 2 answers, right? Jagan. Yes, correct. See, now I remembered your name, how to pronounce. Okay, second one is correct. Sridevika, just try to answer the first one, no? Yes, Jagan correct. Uh, Vaishnavi correct. No, Sridevika, that's not correct. Soumya correct. Last 10 seconds, quickly, quickly answer. Lipika, yes. Nantu, no. 50 no. So I'm ending the poll. Bhumika, no. Yes, the results are like this. 64% of the people have chosen option A, 24% of the people have chosen option B, 12% of the people have chosen option C, and nobody chose option D. So I'm stop sharing the results. See, so which of the following has the longest lifespan? Yes, most of you told banyan tree. Correct, because banyan tree is have the capacity to live thousands year together. Okay, it has a capacity to live many years. But tortoise, if you tell only in animals, or if instead of banyan tree there is another option, then you can choose the tortoise. But more than tortoise, banyan can live. Sorry, banyan tree can live, not the parrot, not the elephant. And I'll tell you what is the lifespan of parrot, elephant, and all. Stem cuttings are commonly used in a propagation of. So where you can see the stem cuttings, and do you know what is a stem cutting? Just answer: mango, cotton, rose, banana. Yes, here is a poll, and I'm expecting 100% of answers. We'll see. Oh no, we can't. Yes, most of you giving the correct answers. Yes, the from YouTube. No, Chetana wrong. Try other answer. Yes, sir. Hita, yes. Rajwal. Yes, Trishal. Trishala. Trishala, yes. Yes. People from YouTube just answer. No, I can't get any answers from YouTube. Yes. I'm ending the poll, and the results are like this. The internet is very slow. I don't know why. It starts in between. So okay. Your voice breaks sometime. Lipika, is it? Is my voice break? Yes. And the results are like this. So 5% of the students have chosen option A, 3% of the students have chosen option B, 78% of the people have chosen option. Yes, what about now? 78% of the people have chosen option C, and 15% of the people have chosen option B. And the great thing is that 78% of you have chosen the correct option. That is a rose. So I'll tell you what is a stem cutting, what is a propagation. Yes, in coming slides. Before that, I would like to ask you. Yes, good evening, Gopika. What is life? Can anyone say what is life? Yes, can anyone say what is life? Am I audible? Yes, am I audible or not? If yes, yes, audible, no? Then say what is life? So, Sachin, Sridevi, Kalipik, okay. So, life is the characteristic or distinguished characteristic, you can say, between the living and non-living things. So if there is a living and non-living thing, if you want to differentiate them you need to do only one thing. That is what, whether it is having a life or not. That is what the characteristic. So that's why we are considering the life as the distinguishing characteristic between the living and non-living thing. So what is lifespan then? Combination of growth, cell division, metabolism, consciousness, etc. Yes, correct. Period of time by birth. Yes. So lifespan is the period or time period from birth to the natural death. Okay. So yes, this is what a lifespan is, that if any organism, so let me write here. So first, if there is any organism that will give birth or that will take a birth, after birth, the organism should grow, right? So when from the birth to the reproductive phase, what the growth is there, right? Or the phase is there, right? That is called as juvenile phase. Till the reproduction, this is called juvenile phase. After that, the organism will enter into the reproductive phase. Reproductive phase. Just give me a minute. So after reproductive phase, the animals, or if we means we undergo aging, or in plants, the leaves will get die, right? That we will call as a senescence. Okay, senescence, and finally the organism will die. That is what death. So this is what the complete lifespan. If any organism which is going to, uh, 1 minute, just give me a minute. Yes. So, lifespan is that from their birth to the death. Okay. That involves from first birth and development called a zooline phase. After that, they enter into the reproductive phase and aging and then death. Right. This is what a lifespan. And remember, birth to the natural death. Okay. And how it varies from organism to organism? Yes, does it varies? So if you take a small organism, does it varies from organism to organism lifespan, or every organism is having the same lifespan? Does it varies? Yes, it varies. Some organisms will have only 1 day of the lifespan. Okay, in only 1 day, it starts its life and it ends its life. And there are some organisms they can live thousands years together, and there are some organisms 100 years together. Yes, Ananya, may fly. Uh, right. And is it related to size? Yes. Is it related to size? So each and every organism are having a different lifespan, right? Is it related to size? No. Yes, very good. So whether the organism is large or small, that is not going to depend on the size. Lifespan is depends on their metabolic activities. Okay. So is immortality is real? Yes. Can anyone say is immortality is real? What do you mean by immortality first? So immortality means no. Immortality is a death. Immortality means where the organism is not having death. Right. That is what immortality. Organism, if the organism does not have a death, means that will be called as immortal. Immortality. So is it real? Yes. You can see the immortal organism, or example is that jellyfish. Yes, in a jellyfish also you can see. Okay. And in the jellyfish, and also in the amoeba. So if you take a amoeba, which is a single celled one, this is going to divide and gives you a two organisms, isn't it? I mean two cells. So now the amoeba involves in the reproduction and gives a two daughter cells, but it does not die. So you can call this as immortal, right? So amoeba and other single celled organisms, and also the jellyfish. Yes, jellyfish is also immortal. And what ensures the continuity of organism? Can anyone say? What ensures the continuity in organism? Yes. So if there is a species, human species, Human species has to continue from many years. It is continuing from many years, right? Till now. And this will continue to the next also. Yes, Megana, Soumya, Chetan, Lipika, correct. So that ensures reproduction. Yes, if the reproduction happens, then only the next generation will continues as pratiksha. So understand, these are all the simple terms. Okay, and now we'll see some organisms are having some different types of lifespans. What are those? We'll see. Sachin, binary fission ಅಲ್ಲಿ amoeba ಅಲ್ಲಿ parent ಹಾಗೆ ಉಳ್ಕೊಳ್ಳುತ್ತಾ? No, 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 no. In the binary fission, parent will not stay as it is because the parent cell, which is going to divide and gives you two daughter cells, right? Parent will not stay as it is, but at the same time, you cannot say parent has been died because parent did not die there. Parent just divides. That is the matter. You can't say that is nor, I mean, neither alive nor dead. That's what. That's why you can consider it as immortal. So elephant has a capacity to live up to 60 years, rose 10 years, I mean rose plant, not the rose flower, okay. And dog 10 to 13 years. Butterfly, where there is no sun. Why there is no sun cell, madam? Why there is no sun cell? Because I don't. From where you guys will get the question like this? From Bijapur. From ancient days, they are saying the daughter cells, daughter cells, daughter cells. We are also saying daughter cells. We'll try to change the trend, okay? Bhagya, sun cells. Yes, number of jellyfishes might be high, must be higher, but there are some accidents will take place in the aquatic systems, no? So accidents are not like on the roads, okay? So other accidents may take and they may get die, okay? So dog can live 10 to 13 years only. And now there are some varieties of dogs. They can live more than 13 years. Okay. And crow can live 15 years. Banana tree 25 years. Cow is 18 to 22 years. Cows and buffaloes. Okay. So parrot is 140 years. Parrot is more than human. Yes, parrot can live more than humans. And crocodile 60 years. Horse 25 to 30 years. Fruit fly. Fruit fly. Do you know what is a fruit fly? The small black flies, which usually fly in front of eyes. Those are fruit flies. Okay, those just live for 40 to 50 days. You need not to worry about the fruit flies. If they are in your home, they'll just go out within 40 to 50 days. If they're having, oh, yes, it becomes small and like black bugs, you can't say that black bugs, the flies, small flies. And rice plant, no, 3 to 7 months. And most of the people have are having the rice, I mean paddy fields at their, no, not the house fly, Meghana. Their other one very small. Oh, that's what you're saying, okay. And our tortoise can live 100 to 150 years. Banyan tree 200 to 500 years. So now you can differentiate, right? Most of the people have told me that tortoise can live long. No, more than a tortoise, banyan tree can live. And mayfly, which can live only in a one day. That's why you can call this as a one-day fly. Mayfly. So what happens? The eggs hatch and they give larva, and the next enters to the pupa stage and the adult and reproduction and die. This continuous process will take place only in a one day. Uh, I don't know exactly, Prajwal. I'll let you know, okay, in the next class. So now is that reproduction. Now we are seeing that reproduction. What is the reproduction? And you know already in the previous classes you have studied, right? Reproduction is a biological process in which organisms produce offsprings similar to themselves. So whatever the organism is there, that is going to involve in the biological process called a reproduction. then that is going to give a new individual which is similar to that, or all the new individual which are produced by the process called reproduction, they involve, I mean, they enter or they resembles their parents either exactly or a bit. That is secondary, but at least they resembles their parents. So that is what reproduction. Reproduction is a biological process in which organisms produce offsprings similar to themselves. Whatever may be the organism. Take a human. Human reproduces offspring. Yes, humans only will come out, right? Yes, may or may not be identical, but similar. We can say similar, not the identical. Okay, identical means exact copy, but we can't say identical here. Reproduction means similar because so few produces identical copies, few does not produce identical copies. That's why. Okay, Lipika. And what is the purpose of reproduction here? The purpose of reproduction is that to continuity of species. So if there is a human species and this human species should continue with the next generations, means reproduction should take place. So imagine if there is no reproduction on the earth now, right? After many years, now reproduction has ceased. The reproduction has ceased from now. What is going to happen? After many years, there is no life at all. So, for the life, reproduction is required, and to continue its own species, reproduction is required, and population organization. If you take a one forest, if you take a forest, what happens? In that forest, there is a tiger, lion, deers, rabbit, everything will be there, right? So in that, if the deers stop their reproduction, the population is going to decline. Population of a deer is going to decline. After that, what happens? If the, yes, obviously food chain will affect, and most of the other organisms also decreases, right? So population organization will also changes, and if two parents involves tiger, male tiger and female tiger involves, means the characters will get mixed up, and variation, I mean, in the next generation the variation will take place, right? Variety of character will come out, so that leads to evolution, right? So this is what happens. So this is the purpose of reproduction which takes place in the all living organisms. So there are two types of reproduction. One is that sexual reproduction, and second one is that asexual reproduction. So sexual reproduction involves, sexual reproduction means there are two parents involved, whereas asexual reproduction only one parent involved. So in detail we will see in the coming slides. Okay, for now just there are two types of reproduction. One is sexual, second one is asexual. Okay, so now basic features of reproduction. So what is going to happen when the reproduction is taking place? First is that RNA is going to synthesize, protein and other biomolecules will get synthesized. See, if there is a one cell which is having some amount of RNA, protein and other biochemicals, but this cell is going to divide and gives you two daughter cells, but all the RNA, protein and the other biochemicals should be same, should be present as same as the parent cell, right? So now just see, if there is a parent cell which is having 3 RNA, 5 proteins and 8 biomolecules, say. So normally the parent is having like that, but now this parent is going to give rise to two daughter cells, right? So even the daughter cells should also have same 3 RNA, 5 proteins and 8 biochemicals. For example, I'm saying, okay, for that what happens, the 3 RNAs will get synthesized and a new RNA will get synthesized, and finally 6 RNAs will be there, and 5 proteins, each daughter cell should get 5 proteins. So again protein synthesis will take place, and 10 proteins, and yes, biomolecules which are 8 in a parent, but each daughter cell also should get 8. So finally 16 are there. So hence each daughter cell will get the same amount of RNA, protein and biochemicals as the original parent. So parents changes has taken place. Okay. And DNA will get replicated. If there is a one DNA, the daughter cells also should get each one DNA. Now DNA will get duplicate or replicate. Finally, each daughter cell will get one DNA and cell division takes place. After that, this cell will grow as bigger as the parent. This is what cell growth. Okay. After that, formation of reproductive unit. Reproductive unit means you can say flower. In the plants, if you take of plants, in the plants, flower is a reproductive unit. In the humans, female reproductive system, male reproductive system. Okay. And so reproductive units will get formed for the purpose of reproduction, whereas formation of new individuals from our respective units. So if there is if you take an example of humans, males produces the sperms and females produces the egg. They both fuses. Yes, sperm and egg are produced by the reproductive units, and those two will get fused and finally gives you a new individual. So these are all the basic features of reproduction, and we have also seen the types of reproduction. So tell me, what are the types of reproduction? Just tell me what are the types of reproduction. Use the chat box and just tell me what are. Yes, sexual and asexual reproductions. Very good. So now we will see asexual reproduction in detail, and in the next class you are going to have the sexual, you are going to see the sexual reproduction. Okay, and from the next class, on Friday, Saturday, I won't be taking your class. Friday, Saturday, Ghazala ma'am will take your class. Okay. So asexual reproduction, what is asexual reproduction? Actually, yes. So offsprings produced by a single parent, only single parent is going to involve in the sexual reproduction. Okay, and there is no gamete formation. If there is no gamete formation, there is no gamete fusion. See, in the animals, sperm will produce, that is a male gamete, and egg will produce, that is a female gamete, right? So that male gamete and female gamete fuses and gives you the new individual. That is sexual reproduction. But whereas in asexual reproduction, only one parent is involved, that is when no gametes are formed. Yes, Jagan, I'll upload. If I get after a class, if I get the internet, surely I'll upload. Okay. So after this, offsprings produced by a single parent. That single parent will not produce any gamete. If there is no gamete from a two parents, there is no fusion. So asexual reproduction is produced by a single parent. Offsprings are produced by single parent without involvement of a fusion. Or yes, fusion is different, fission is different. Okay. Yes. So if the offspring is produced by a single parent, which means the genes will not mix up. So the same genes which are present in the parent will transfer to the offspring, right? So then there is no genetic mix up. So the offsprings which are produced by asexually, which are genetically and morphologically identical to their parents. Identical to parents. So if any organism which is genetically and morphologically identical to their parents, that you will call as the clones. Okay. So yes, so only one organism is involved, right? There are no two organisms. One organism is involving, that is going to give a new individual. So the same genes which are present in the parent organism, that are going to transfer to the new individual. Then that new individual having the same genetic makeup. So genetically and morphologically identical to the parents. That's why those offsprings which are produced by the asexual reproduction are called as clones. Okay. So now, what are the characteristics of asexual reproduction? One is that, single parent is involved. Gametes are not formed. If there is no gametes, there is no fusion. So fusion of gamete you will call as a fertilization. So I can say that there is no fertilization. If there is no fertilization, hence this process is called as agamogenesis or agamogeny. Okay, if there is no fertilization or if there are no gametic fusion, then you can call asexual reproduction as agamogenesis, agamogeny. Okay, only mitotic division takes place. Okay, so because if the organism, any organism, take bacteria which is having a two sets of chromosome, if that divides meiotically, what happens? Each next generation will get one set of chromosome, but there that is not capable of survival. So that is why, to avoid that, in a asexual reproduction, the organisms divides mitotically to give the same number of genes or same set of genes to the offspring. So that is why you can also call this asexual reproduction as a somatic reproduction. Okay, and daughter organisms are genetically identical to parents, as I told you, right? Already clones. And this asexual reproduction takes place very rapidly. So is that clear? What is asexual reproduction and what are the characteristics of asexual reproduction? Is that clear, everyone? Yes or no in the chat box quickly. Is that clear? Yes, the people from YouTube, do you guys also understand? Yes, 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 yes. Super. So this is understood, right? This is what all asexual reproduction. So where does this asexual reproduction takes place? In the unicellular organisms, you can see the asexual reproduction, and in many plants, I'll tell you where you can see, and in some simple animals also you can see this asexual reproduction. So is it absent in vertebrates? Yes. This is absent in a vertebrates and higher invertebrates. Okay. So some lower invertebrate animals will undergo the asexual reproduction. Yes, Gopika, very good. But other than that, higher invertebrates and vertebrates, they do produce sexually or they do reproduce sexually. Apart from them, all unicellular organisms and many plants and simple animals, they do reproduce asexually. Yes. So here is a question. Asexual reproduction is also known as what? Apomixis, agamogeny, both 1 and 2, and none of the above. What is the correct answer? Last slide. Okay, I'll go to that. 1 minute, Amit. So, yes, in YouTube also I'm waiting for the answers. Yes, 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 yes. Pallavi, Vaishnavi, Sri Devika, correct. Yes, yes, yes. Most of you are giving a correct answers now. I can't read the names. The names are going like this. Oh, super Gopika, correct. Okay, time up, and I'm ending the poll. To end the poll, it takes time. I don't know why. Yeah, always happens this. Just give me 2 minutes, okay? There is a internet interruption. That's why happening all this. Yes, the results are like this. 7% of the people have chosen option A, 79% of the people have chosen option B, and 7% of the people have chosen option C and option D. Okay, so yes, the happiest thing is that most of you have chosen the correct option. That is agamogamy. Why we are calling agamogeny? Because no fusion of gametes. Right. So apomixis, which is a type of asexual reproduction, I can see. This is the type of asexual reproduction. And the next question is that which one below is not a purpose of reproduction? Okay, you can which one is not the purpose of reproduction? So you may get confused. Don't get confused. Yes, Prajwal, Apurva, Ms. Gopika also gave the answer. Yes. Vaishnavi, Bhagya, Jagan, last 30 seconds. Yes, Sridevika. Prajwal, Jnanashri. Correct? Last 10 seconds, quickly answer. No? Yes. So this is a very simple question. Yes. If reproduction is taking place, it can continue or it can continue its species. So whatever may be the organism, it can continue its species and variation takes place and population organization can maintain, but the reproduction cannot give you a new species. The same species only going to born, right? New species will not born. Then that is not called a reproduction. That is called something experiment, right? Isn't it? So now we'll see the types of reproduction, right? So what are the types? R is missing and I wrote R, okay? So what are the types of sexual reproduction? One is that fission, and you know what is a fission? Can anyone tell me what is a fission? Fission. There are many types of reproductions, asexual reproductions. I'm just adding few. Yes. Fission means just if there is a one cell that is going to divide and gives you two daughter cells, two or many, but dividing, okay, dividing is a fission, and we'll see the types of fission also. And budding is just easy. So any part or sorry, yes, budding means the parent is going to have the outgrowth or extra growth. I can't say outgrowth, and it is not only in outside or inside. The extra growth will take place. That extra growth is called as a bud, and that bud will detach from the parent and finally gives the new individual. That is what called a budding. And fragmentation, the complete organism is going to divide into pieces or fragments, and each fragment is have the capacity to develop as a new individual. And gamma formation, so if you are able to remember the 11th chapter, there in the plant kingdom, the bryophytes, especially the liverworts, right? They are going to produce a sexual structure called a gamet. This gamet have the capacity to divide as a new individual. And even in the regeneration process also, like in the lizards or in the starfish, if the tail will cut in the lizard, the tail have no capacity to grow as a new individual, but the individual have the capacity to grow its new tail. Tail cannot give a new individual, but the organism which has lost its tail, no, that can give, that can regenerate its tail. That is called a regeneration. And some organisms will produce spores. By the spores, the new individual will develop. Yes, in planaria also you can see the regeneration somewhere. And vegetative propagation, especially you will see this in the plants. Vegetative propagation can be seen in the plants, because in the plants what happens, there is a flower, right? And apart from the flower you can also see the stem, root, leaves, right? So the flower is considered as a reproductive part, and apart from a flower, what are all there, no? Root, stem, leaf, they are considered as the vegetative parts. And if these vegetative parts have the capacity to give a new individual or a new plant, that is called as a vegetative propagation. Okay, yes, bryophyllum is an example. I'll show you some examples also. Now, we'll see some examples. Yes, fission means if there is a one organism that is going to divide into two or four or six or eight, whatever may be the number, but based on the number, we here have the two types of a fission. One is a binary fission, another one is a multiple fission. So what happens in the binary fission? First, if there is a one organism, that one organism is having a nucleus, and that is going to divide. First karyokinesis takes place, after that cytokinesis. What do you mean by karyokinesis? Can anyone say what do you mean by karyokinesis? What do you mean by karyokinesis? I'm waiting for the answers in the YouTube also, in the Zoom classes also. Yes, nuclear division. So first, nuclear division takes place and followed by the cytoplasmic division will takes place, right? So that is what the binary fission. But how many daughter cells will come? Binary. Only two daughter cells will form. That is what the binary fission. So you can see in the amoeba a simple binary fission. Whereas in the euglena is a elongated structure like this, right? So this euglena will divide in this manner. Vertically, the euglena will divide and gives a two daughter cells. That is what called longitudinal binary fission. Okay, and in the paramecium or in a planaria and diatoms in bacteria, what happens? They are in this manner, right? So they are going to divide horizontally and gives you a two daughter cells. This kind of binary fission is called as transverse binary fission. Okay. And the last one is that oblique binary fission. So the dinoflagellates, yes, these dinoflagellates, if they have a slant division, that is what called oblique binary fission. So do you understand now? Fission is of binary fission, multiple fission. Binary fission means each individual is going to give rise to two daughter cells. That is in either ways, any of the way is a simple binary fission you can see in amoeba. If the binary fission is taking place vertically, that is called longitudinal binary fission in the euglena. And whereas you can see the vertical, horizontal fusion or horizontal fission. Okay, fission, not the fusion. Fusion means two cells joined together called a fusion. And if there is a one cell that divides into two, that is a fission. 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 Fusion. Fusion. Okay. And that is a transverse fission, and finally oblique binary fission. Understood? Now we are moving to the multiple fission. In the multiple fission, what is going to happen means, see, the first karyokinesis will takes place, right, and followed by cytokinesis. But in the multiple fission, say like in the amoeba, what happens? First, the nucleus divides multiple times. The nucleus divides multiple times and gives a many nucleus, multicellular stage. Okay, that will come, and after that surrounds the each nucleus surrounds the each nucleus. There is a cytoplasm. That cytoplasm divides at that time. After the karyokinesis, the cytoplasm will get divide and gives you the many daughter cells. After that, the cell wall or the wall of that organism will get ruptured, and all the daughter cells at the same time comes out. That is what called multiple fission. Okay, understood? Fission, go to the participants and click on yes if you understood, or if you want me to explain, you can ask in the chat box. Understood? Binary fission, multiple fission, very easy. Binary fission gives you two daughter cells. Multiple fission, you will going to get many daughter cells, because so after many successive karyokinesis, cytokinesis will take place. Okay, no one are ready to click on yes. Why? Only Chetan and Sachin. Okay, you can unclick now. So this is what about multiple fission. Now we are going to see the plasmotomy. So plasmotomy means what? Yeah, 1 minute. So in the plasmotomy, what is going to happen? So this plasmotomy is usually takes place in the multinuclear organisms. Multinuclear organisms. So you can see examples. You can take examples as a pleomixture, that is a giant amoeba, and opalina. Ma'am, sorry, explain again about oblique fission. Okay, 1 minute. Oblique fission. Okay, so yes. 1 minute. The people want to explain me again this. So oblique fission is just a slant division. If there is a like this, no, the slant division will take place in the organism. That is what oblique division. And in a multiple fission, what happens in the multiple fission? The one nucleus which is going to divide into two, but normally in binary fission, one nucleus is going to divide into two, and then cytoplasm will divide and two individuals will form. Whereas in a multiple fission, one nucleus is going to divide into two, and two into four, four into eight. After formation of many nucleus, now the cytoplasm is divides, and finally most of the daughter cells will form at a time. Okay, so this is what multiple fission. And in the plasmatommy, normally multinuclear organisms will undergo. How means, see, if this is the daughter cell, sorry, this is a parent cell, that is giant amoeba, having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So if the organism is having a 10 nucleus inside it, because that is a multinuclear organism, right? So having a 10 nuclei. 10 nuclei. Okay, so these 10 nuclei, first what happens? Normally, first karyokinesis takes place and followed by cytokinesis, right? But here what happens? First, cytokinesis will take place and gives the daughter cell. Each daughter cell is having 5 nucleus, right? Each daughter cell is having 5 nucleus. So first, cytoplasm takes place. After that, what happens? Each daughter cell undergoes the karyokinesis individually and gives you the 10 nucleus. So 10 nucleus is just an example, okay? Yes. So this is what happens in the plasmotomy. So normally, in a normal cell division, what happens? First karyokinesis takes place and followed by cytokinesis, right? But here, first cytokinesis will take place. Cytokinesis. So the multi-nucleus, no, there are many nuclei. So the nuclei will divide equally in each of the individual. After that, karyokinesis will take place individually, right? So this karyokinesis leads to the formation of the nuclei. Number of nuclei which are present in the daughter cells are equal to the number of nuclei which are present in the parent cells. Is that clear? Yes. Plasmatommy, is that clear? Is the YouTube and the Zoom? Say yes or no in the chat box. Or do you want me to explain again? Aishwarya, Anuradha said yes. Hita said yes. Pratiksha said yes. Boys? Shrivevika, yes. Chandana, yes. Soumya, yes. Only girls are saying yes. Where are the boys? Vidya, yes again. Boys are not there in the class. Do you want me to explain otherwise? Okay. So now comes the budding. So you know already budding, right? So budding is just the growth, extra growth from the parent, and that detaches from the parent and falls on the substratum, suitable substratum, and that later develops as the new individual. That is what called as the budding. In the budding there are two types. One is that exogenous budding. So exogenous or external budding, you know already. So the budding which takes place outside the body, budding takes place, or extra growth, outgrowth will takes place. Extra growth will takes place outside the body, or you can say that as an outgrowth. That is what exogenous budding or external budding. Okay, the best example is that hydra and cycon. And endogenous or internal budding, you can see in the spongilla. Okay, so spongilla is the only freshwater, freshwater sponge. This is an example of only freshwater sponge. Okay, so endogenous or internal budding means what? Yes, obviously you know already. So the bird is going to produce inside the body. The best example is that spongilla. Okay, so what is going to be formed during the bud inside the body means that bird you can call as the gemule. This is what the gemule. This is what the gemule. So gemule, which is a bird which formed inside the spongilla. Okay, this is what about budding. So far we have seen what is asexual what is reproduction, what is asexual reproduction, and what are the types. I mean, what are the types of asexual reproduction, right? First is a fission. Fission is divided into binary fission, multiple fission, and second is that, it's okay, Jagan. So second is that plasmotomy and the budding. Plasmotomy where occurs in the multinuclear organisms, and budding, the extra growth you can see in the individuals, I mean in the parent cells. So if that extra growth takes place outside the body, that is exogenous budding or external budding. If that is happening inside the body, that is called endogenous or internal budding. That is a gamule formation will take place. Okay, so now is a fragmentation, and you know what is a fragmentation already. So if any organism that is going to give up pieces, or you can say fragments, and those fragments and pieces have the capacity to develop as a new individual, like in a sponges, coelenterates, echinoderms, algae, fungi, bryophyta, pteridophyta. All these organisms their have the capacity to develop as a new individual, each and every piece. Okay, and next is the gemme. I told you, right? I'll show you the gemme. This is a gemme, gemma cup, the Markantia. So this is in your words, you can see this kind of structures, no? These are the gamma cups. Okay, and this gamma cup produced asexually, and each and every gamma cup have the capacity to develop as the new individual, new Markantia. Right. So far, what? Fission, plasmotomy, budding, and fragmentation, gamma formation we have seen. And the next one is that regeneration. So what is going to happen in the regeneration, you know already. The tail of uh, the lizard cuts off, no? If the tail of the lizard cuts off, then what happens? That lizard have the capacity to grow its tail again, but that tail does not have the capacity to develop the individual. So that is what called a restorative generation. So the tail is going to restore again, that is called restorative generation. Whereas in the planaria, what happens? In the planaria, what happens? If I cut the planaria into three parts, as you can see in the image, if I cut the planaria into three parts, then the head, the body and the tail. Okay, the head can develop the complete organism again, the body also can develop the head and tail again, even the tail also have the capacity to grow as a new individual again. So this is called morpholaxis. Okay, you can see the morpholaxis in the sponges, hydra, planaria. Okay, so this is about regeneration. And next comes the spore formation. Yes, the spores are going to be formed, and I'll give you a homework here. I'll just tell you what are the zoospores and conidia, and remaining spores you need to tell me in tomorrow's class. I mean in Friday's class. Okay. So zoospores means, yes, these are the spores, or you can say these as the motile spores. So motile spores which are formed in the chlamydomonas, eulothrix and phycomycetes, those are called zoospores. Zoospores means which have a capacity to produce, which have capacity to move with the flagella. And conidia which are non-motile spores. Non-motile spores. Okay, so you can see the conidia in a penicillium. So if the conidia is a brush-like, penicillium is a brush-like. On the top of each brush, the conidia dotted-like structures are. You can see in the second image, right? So these are the conidia. Okay, so and you need to say me what is a chlamydosporus, odia, sporangiosporus, and eplanospores. Yes. Okay, Srushti? Yeah. So now this is all about the other organisms, small unicellular organisms and some animals. Now if we come to the plants, how do the plants reproduce asexually? So now so far we have seen the animals which are reproducing asexually or the other organisms reproducing asexually. Now is the asli task. That is what? How the plants are going to reproduce asexually, that is by vegetative propagation. Okay, so vegetative propagation I told you already. So by reproduction by vegetative parts, reproduction by vegetative parts. Okay, so this reproduction can be done, vegetative propagation can be done naturally or artificially also. We'll see one by one. So the natural reproduction, natural vegetative propagation can take place in the uh, stem, root, leaf. So first we'll take a stem. So the best example is that potato. Potato, if you see the potato, so if this is a potato, on the potato there are scars like this or eyes, what we call as eyes, no? So these eyes, actually potato is a stem. Do you know that? Do you know that? Potato is a stem. Do you know or no? Don't know. Yes, you know, right? So on the potato, you can see the eyes, and those eyes have the capacity to give another new plant, which means yes, the plant is, there is no gamete fusion, right? Here the plant is coming, plant is arriving, but no gametic fusion, no sexual reproduction, no anther involved, no stigma involved, right? That is why this is considered as a vegetative propagation. Even in the onions also, that is a bulb, and the corm, in Kannada you will say as a suvarnagadde, right? That will also give the new plant. Even the bulb, even the onion have the capacity, onion stem have the capacity to give the new plant, and corm also capacity of the new plant, given the rhizome, that is a ginger, and sucker is also one of the plants, I mean type of plant. These are all have the capacity to give the new individuals or a new plants without involvement of gamete. That's why we are involving them as in a I mean asexual reproduction, sorry. So now there are other plants called a synodon, which belongs to the runners. Okay, so if this is a ground level, and here is the node of the stem, and the new plant is arriving. So from the node above the ground, a bit above the ground, the stem will run or a creep, and it reaches the soil where the node is present. So from the node, again a new individual will arise, right? And again it goes, and the new individual again arises, right? This is what called a runner. Even in offset also, offset is also a kind of runner, but that is an aquatic runner, we can say icornia. In the icornia you can say, but runner is an example cynodon. And in the yes, pistia maybe. And in a strawberry, what happens if this is a ground level and here the plant is rising, right? But the stem will not run or creep on the ground. The stem will move bit above the ground and reach the ground where the node is present. So the node touches the ground and gives you, yes, the new plant. Again, sorry, yeah, again the same thing will happen. Okay, so this is what. So this is of here also you can see there is no involvement of flower, there is no involvement of gamete. Only stem is going to produce the new plant. That is why this involves. I mean this is involved in the asexual reproduction. Next is a root. Yes, the sweet potato or Dalbergia siso. These are all the plants. From the root only the new plant will arise. And in the leaf, like a bryophyllum, if you take a bryophyllum leaf, so the tissue which is here, that can gives a new leaf. So if you just detach that from the parent leaf and if you keep that in the soil, the new plant will arise. So not only the flower in the plants, other than the flower like a root, stem, leaf, they can also involve in the process of reproduction. So if they involve in the process of reproduction, that is called asexual reproduction or propagation. Okay, vegetative propagation you can say. Is that clear? Go to the participants and click on yes if it is clear. Vegetative propagation by natural vegetative propagation by stem, leaf and root. Click on yes or no. Only 3 people are alive in the class. God. Yes, Sachin, Aishwarya, Pratiksha. Yes, okay, you can unclick now. So now we'll see the artificial vegetative propagation. Offset, yes, offset also involves such. I didn't mention all the things just for your information. I mean, just for your understanding purpose. I just said, ooh, tissue culture. Yes. Soumya, that is also, that involves an artificial vegetative propagation. Okay. Yes, you can also say the tissue culture as a micro propagation. Understand? So, artificial vegetative propagation, we ourselves can do the vegetative propagation to the plants. How? By the cuttings. So, that is very easy. If I take a rose plant, I cut the rose plant in a slant manner. So, I give slant cut. Yes, Gopika, you also understood. Slant cut to the stem. Slant cut to stem. This is a rose plant. And after that, what I will do, I will dip that slant cutted stem. So why we are cutting this slantly? Because if we cut the slant, if we give the slant cut, no, then no tissues are going to harm. Yes, minimum number of tissues are going to harm. That is the main purpose why we are giving a slant cut. And one more thing, exposure of tissue will also be high. So now I am going to dip this in a phytohormone, in the phytohormone, that is auxin. So auxin can give the roots. Okay, so after dipping this in the phytohormones, I am going to keep this in a soil. Now the roots will arise, the plant will grow. So if I just take a one stem from a complete plant, then I can grow that, right? So without involvement of any gametes. So this involves, I mean, this comes under the artificial vegetative propagation, or this comes under asexual reproduction. And second one is that layering. So layering can be done to the jasmine. This can be done to the rose. Okay, so what happens in the jasmine means, if there is a jasmine plant like this, so not exactly, okay, so if there is a jasmine plant, yes, Jagan, correct. So now what happens, I'll just take a one stem of this and I'll bend it to the soil. So that I'll bend the soil, sorry, I'll bend the stem where the node is have to touch the soil. Where the node have to touch the soil, then I'll cover the node with the soil. Right. After many days, after so many days, what happens? The roots arises, even the plant also arises. This is what the layering. This is very easy, but the layering can be done to the only a small plants, because we can easily bend the stem of the small plants. But if there are large plants, right? If there are large plants means, take a mango. Are we able to bend the stem of mango? No. If we are able to bend also, the stem will get break. So that is why the layering can be done only to the smaller plants. And finally, grafting. So grafting means we are going to combine the two characters. Yes, usually this will not comes under asexual reproduction, because we are combining two characters. But this comes under a vegetative propagation. So in the grafting, what happens? I'll take a two rose plants. Okay, one rose plants which is having the wild, which is a wild variety, having enough amount of capacity to control or withstand with the all the what I can say, all the with all the conditions. One wild variety, and another one is a normal variety which gives a beautiful flower, but it cannot withstand. Wild variety, it can withstand, but it is not going to give a beautiful flower. So now what I will do, I will take, yes, the the lower part called stalk of wild variety, and the scion, the upper part, scion of the normal variety, which gives a beautiful flower, right? So now I'll tie these two and leave for some days. After that, what happens? The characters will mix up and finally gives you the flower, beautiful flower, and complete plant is having capacity to withstand in all the weather conditions. So this kind of grafting is called as a tongue grafting. Crossbreeding, yes, you can call this. And second one is a wedge grafting. So now I need to cross with the two plants. One is having a broad base. I mean, the broad width. One is having a more width. So one is having more width and the other plant is having very small width. So now what I will do, I'll just give a wedge cut to this plant. So this is the stem and I'm going to give a wedge cut to this plant. And now what happens? I'll also take the scion which is of the size, and I'll also give the wedge cut to that scion. So now what happens? This scion will enter into the stalk, and finally the both the characters will get mixed up. This is what the wedge cut or wedge grafting. So next is the crown grafting. So crown grafting means having more wedge cuts like this, right? And each wedge cut is having the each plant. Okay. So this is what crown grafting. And remember, I'll tell you. Okay, remember remaining thing I'll tell you. So now is that clear? All the vegetative reproduction. What is vegetative reproduction? Sorry. What is asexual reproduction and what are the types of asexual reproduction? Do you understand? So what is asexual reproduction? What are the characteristics? Where does it occur? And what are the types of asexual reproduction? Fission, binary fission, multiple fission, plasmotomy, budding, two types, exogenous, endogenous, fragmentation, and gamma formation, regeneration, spore formation. Where should I? And finally, vegetative propagation. Natural vegetative propagation and the artificial vegetative propagation. Now we are going to see what are the advantages and disadvantages of vegetative propagation. Okay, so advantages are like, if we grow the plants by vegetative propagation, faster and a more certain method of propagation. Okay, this is the vegetative propagation is very fast method and preserves the character of food and flower crops. If the parent is having the proper characters, no, those characters are preserved in the new individual because we are not mixing up the characters. And some plants like a banana do not reproduce seeds at all, so they multiply only vegetatively. Okay. And what are the disadvantages of this vegetative propagation is that no new varieties can be produced. You cannot produce a new varieties by the vegetative propagation, but by the grafting you can. Okay. And short-lived plants. All the plants which are produced by the vegetative propagation are short-lived plants. They do not have a more lifespan. And for the vegetative propagation, no, you require skilled persons and also the money. It is more expensive compared to the seed propagation. Okay. And more susceptible to diseases, as the entire plant may get affected, as there is no generic variation, so the plants are easily affected to the diseases. So these are all the advantages and disadvantages of vegetative propagation. If we take the advantages of asexual reproduction, is that no mate is required. It involves a simple division process like mitosis and amitosis. Meiosis is not required. That is a complex process. So that is not required. That is why the organisms can reproduce very quickly. That is quick mode of reproduction. And yes, if there is only a single parent, that can produce large number of offsprings. And also it is going to give exact copy or it is going to give a clones. Okay. But if we see the disadvantages, you cannot get a variation. If there is no variation, no evolution. And as the process is very quick, there is a overcrowding of the species. By the overcrowding of a species, what happens? It leads to the competition between the species, that is intra-species competition, right? And have low adaptability to change in the environment. As there is no mixing of the genes, they cannot adapt to the change in the environment. Okay, this is all about advantages and disadvantages, and this is your today's homework. So yes, any doubt in today's class? Ask me. The homework is that observe the methods of sexual reproduction in your surrounding nature and learn different propagation of plants. Read a mitosis of a cell cycle chapter. So why I am telling you that to observe the sexual reproduction surrounding you? Because from the next class we are going to see the sexual reproductions. Okay. Is any doubts? Ask me in the chat box. Otherwise, I'm launching teacher NPS. Yes, I'll share the notes today. Any doubts? Yeah, thank you, Anuradha. Sri Devika, thank you. Yeah, Surabhi, thank you. Uh, yes, after a sexual, maybe in one class, the chapter will get over, and then comes the sexual reproduction in plants. Okay. Parthenogenesis, yes, tissue culture, parthenogenesis. Yes, Harsh, I'll tell you. Tissue culture, parthenogenesis, and apomixis. All these also involved in the sexual reproduction. Yeah, thank you, Gopika. Thank you, Jagan. So suckers are the you can see the banana or mint, Harsha, the way of stem reproduction. No, there you can observe the suckers. Yeah, thank you, Pratiksha. Yes, thank you, Hita. So yes, everything done. Can I end the class? I'm ending the class. Thank you, everyone.